Hello, my name is Kayla Roll, and today I'm going to be informing you on a subject that many people do not take very lightly. My subject today is physicians-assisted suicide. Physicians-assisted suicide has been a debatable conversation, topic, whatever you may, for many of centuries. Physicians-assisted suicide is when a physician prescribes a lethal dosage of drugs to the terminally ill that are suffering, and essentially they die. The idea that it should be illegal to help somebody commit suicide is often ascribed from the biblical commandment that one shall not kill. Although, do you know and understand the grueling details that one has to go through before they die? Have you ever had to see a loved one go through it, a friend, family? If you do, then you would also know how expensive the outcomes are. The benefits of physicians of suicide, they go on and on and on. But today I'm going to talk about the costs. I'm going to talk about why it's important to die with your dignity. And I'm also going to talk about how much the terminally ill suffer and why they shouldn't have to. When a loved one develops a terminal illness, it's normal to go through the emotional experience. It's important to talk about death and plan for the end of life. Assisted suicide is an option that many people can choose when there is nowhere else to turn. It is an option that avoids having to suffer, to go through pain and the symptoms of the body shutting down. I'm going to go over a few of terminal illnesses with you, and it skims the surface. It doesn't go into depth. One example would be the end stages of kidney failure. Kidney failure, you start to reduce the amount of urine that's being put out. And when this happens, the results are your lower extremities fill up. Your legs fill up, your feet fill up with fluid. There's nowhere for it to go. Your body's not processing it properly. Also, you will have unexplained shortness of breath due to your heart. You know, your cardiovascular, it's not working properly. Your heart's not working properly. You're going to feel fatigued, tired all the time. You're not going to want to do anything on top of knowing you're going to die. Your body doesn't want to work. As things progress, it's common to have nausea, confusion. You become you have hallucinations. You also the hallucinations are due to not eating, not drinking. You become dehydrated. In some cases, you have seizures. You can become in a coma. Another one I'm going to talk about is a condition often and by majority considered incurable, is the last stages of cancer. A common symptom of this disease is frequent exhaustion accompanied by severe pain in your bones. If you know anybody with cancer, you know how painful it is. They make drugs just for the pain because it's so bad. Weight loss is another widely noticed and visible symptom. Some people can lose half their body weight. When this starts to happen, they see their body changing and they become irritable, they become anxious, nervous because they know what's coming. You know, when you see death in sight, it's uncomfortable. Active dying is what they call the final days. In this case, some might have really low body temperature. They're feeling hunger and thirst getting diminished, which can lead to hallucinations, like I said before. Starving, again, is also, it's one of the worst things that somebody can go through. Over the past 10 years, I've worked in nursing homes, I've worked in rehabilitation centers, and I've seen all this. I've seen people dying. It's one of the worst things that somebody can go through. You know, physicians-assisted suicide is probably one of the best options you can have. You're willing to be done. You fought your fight, you lived your life, you're ready to go. I only touched the surface of what some people go through. You know, that's the PG version. And now that you know a little bit of what people endure, I want to talk a little bit about the costs. The costs are absolutely outrageous. Medicare is our #1 debt in this country. It doesn't have to be that way. There are ways around it. You know, sometimes I think you have to put your beliefs aside and realize what reality is and the hard facts. In 2007, the U.S. healthcare costs totaled over $2.3 trillion. Assuming that 2.7% of people who are terminally ill and dying were to participate in physician-assisted suicide, which is only, by the way, 2.7%. That's 62,000 people. That's not many people. You know, how many people die every single day? That would save approximately $627 million. $620 million would be saved if people didn't suffer. If you put it like that, I mean, it's a kind of a no-brainer. A private room in a nursing home is $230 a day. That averages almost to $7,000 a month. Care provided in an assisted living facility, that costs $32,000 a month. Home health care is $21 per day. Essentially, $21 a day or an hour per day is for cooking, cleaning, things that they can't do on their own. And most people do not have the proper funds to pay for these services, and nor do their families. In fact, in 2012, more than 1 in 4 families experienced financial burdens of Medicare costs. Knowing that your death is inevitable, wouldn't you want to take away all this aggravation? You could take that money and spend in a proper burial, cremation. Either way you look at it, it would be cheaper to end the terminal illnesses with physician-assisted suicide. Choosing physician-assisted suicide at a federal level would allow millions of people with terminal illnesses the option of ending their lives peacefully instead of suffering through the horrible pain and physical problems that they endure associated with prolonging life and the terminal condition. Another benefit of practicing physician-assisted suicide is dying with dignity. You know, whether everybody wants to admit it or not, we all want to be seen, acknowledged, and heard. You know, we come into this world with dignity without even realizing it, and we should be able to leave the world as well with it. Especially if we're diagnosed with a terminal illness. Patients still want to be seen as human beings, not defined by their disease. When the illnesses progress and the body starts to shut down, processes, these lines get blurred. It's important to reflect back to and appreciate the person as a whole. And more severe or troubling the medical concern, the more likely that these factors will affect the person's sense of dignity. Physician-assisted suicide can oversee these problems or concerns. You know, physician-assisted suicide has many, many, many more benefits. Those are just a few. Dignity, saving money on healthcare, and to end suffering. I hope you like my presentation. Have a good night.